Good evening, everybody. Welcome to another live edition of Pittsburgh Sportsline in the BPTV studios. Thanks for watching our show during this epidemic. We appreciate that. We're happy and proud to be able to talk sports because we do have sports talk on hockey, football, NBA, NFL, among other sports. So we'll talk about that. I'm Al Levine, the talking machine. And look what Smoking Jim Frazier got me. We can't eat food in here. We got to eat outside. We got to practice social distancing. He gave me a happy birthday balloon, and I'll show it because my man, he saves $250 a week. No, a day per week since the corona, and he got me a $25 gift certificate to Pasta 2.
I thought they left a zero off that.
No. I just called my friend Ray, the owner, and he told me your buddy had $250 out, but he stopped and gave me $25. He goes, so he walked away with $2.25, and I'm friends with the owner, so this is what goes on. But
Are you betting on the Premier League?
enough of that. We got Chip Hayner here, and we got Smoking Jim Frazier. Thanks again for the balloon and the gift card. And I got some promos. We got Steve here. We got Anthony back again. First up, Olive Oil's Pizzeria. They're open, 412-831-1900. As Smoking Jim said, we got to eat outside, and we come in at different times. He comes in 2 minutes before we start. I'm here 35 minutes. Chip's 40 minutes early. So we have to eat in shifts out there. So we haven't developed a plan yet. I've been working on it for a month now, and I've critiqued when Smoking Jim comes here. I've critiqued when Chip's not here, and then I critique when he is here, he beats me in. And then we got Steve, he's always early, and Anthony's always early. So we might be able to work something out if you need to know our business. But check out Olive Oil's Pizzeria, all fresh Italian food, it's great, and give him a call, Hillcrest Shopping Center. Next up, we end each show with Stay Joey Strong. We'll see how that is. Look at what Steve does on there. Fantastic. And that's the Joey Fabus Childhood Cancer Foundation. Poor Joey died at 9 years old before his 10th birthday 6 years ago. They've raised over $100,000 to find a cure for DIPG, the dreaded brain cancer that killed him. They have great events. We're hoping to do the 5K, 1 mile walk and run at Bethel Park High School in September. Usually it's the second Sunday of the month. I'm hoping to be there and hope we can do social distancing or whatever we can, wear masks and costumes and see what happens. But stay tuned. You can donate your time and money there to their Joey Fabus Childhood Cancer Foundation. Another nonprofit. We'll see if we can get that in there. Look at that. Bethel Park Historical Society Schoolhouse Arts and History Center, 2600 South Park Road. They're a great place. They're a nonprofit. They put in a brand new roof, $150,000, remodeled the place. They got dance studios. They got an artist. They got a library. They have yearbooks for going back at Bethel Park High School for, 60, 70 years at least. So check it out. They have events there when it's possible. So check them out. They also have Reginald's Coffee, which is open for the takeout window. So go get your loose leaf green tea. Like I got to stop in there and get a pot of green tea, and you can bring your own chair and sit in the grass yard out there. So check it out. Next up, Bethel Park Community Foundation has money for you. Let's see what Steve can do. Look at that, folks. Centered perfectly. Not that it's on automatic or anything, but I don't want to tell some of our secrets. But look how perfect that is. They have $100 to $5,000 for you, for your groups that are doing great things in the Bethel Park area. And they'll give you money there if you apply for it. Get an application, bpcf.org. I'm a trustee on the board. We haven't had any meetings because of COVID, but we're looking for meetings in the future. And if you need money, get an application and see when we'll meet. Next up, Dave Cable likes to have a little fun at my expense. Put my face on Uncle Sam. Uncle Al wants you for BPTV, 831-3304. Give Dave Cable a call. Tell them Al Levine, the Talking Machine, sent you to come here and help Anthony out, help Steve out. You can run cameras, you can do video, audio. In the control room, cameras right here. We got 3 cameras, folks. This is one of them. So we got that going on. Then we're supposed to do an on-location show for this next thing, and it's WE21. They honor Roberto Clemente and his ethics and beliefs, and they're going to do a Love Gumbo event on August 22nd at the Afro-American Musical Institute in Homewood. It's close to Smoking Jim's house, so he won't be late. And we're looking at doing that, and it's a Sunday, and we're going to be there, and they're going to have musicians, and he has a capability of 50 Zoom channels, so they're going to do streaming, and we're honored to be filming that. So we'll give you more details as we get them. I'm waiting for some of those details, so we'll keep you updated, but check that out. So we'll have coming events. And next up, we do have a sponsor, Skeet Service Station, 6103 Route 88. I was there today. My vehicle needs inspected, so they got to get me a sensor. I went there Monday, went there today. They were pretty much full of people there, so now I'm going to get it done on Wednesday. So if you need Skeet, 724-348-4715. They work on anything and everything that runs on gas. Just give them a call, and they're a red, white, and blue station there in Finleyville. You can't miss it, right on Route 88, so check it out. And that's why we're going to start this beginning of What's on Your Mind. Smoking Jim Frazier, thanks again for the birthday gifts. You're the best.
Thanks, Al Levine, the Talking Machine. And if you want the green,
Here comes the fastball.
you got to see Levine.
Like a pie-on fastball to me.
And I ain't caught a fastball since I played baseball. But
I need a witness on that. Tell me one name on your team.
I can't remember those guys. But I tell you what, Al Levine, the Talking Machine.
What?
Happy birthday, man. It only comes around twice a year, but hey,
Thank you, thank you.
I tell you what, Al Levine, the Talking Machine.
Yes.
You know, everything is open in Monroeville, man. I mean,
Where do you go to see that?
The DoubleTree Hotel was
Yeah.
booked with people. People are diving off the top of the building into the pool. Everything is open, and I come here,
Yeah,
and I thought, Pasta 2, because I know you like your Pasta 2 now.
yeah,
They're closed to the public.
yeah.
I didn't know
They're just
that.
on takeout.
Yeah, they're just doing takeout, but they was able to, take a takeout order.
Well,
And,
they told me that $250 wad was impressive. Because I called after you told me that.
But the further I drive from Monroeville down south, the more things that were shut down and closed. So, I got to get out a little bit more to see how the other half is living.
The bars all had to close at 5 today.
Really? I didn't know that.
Can't serve any alcohol
In Allegheny County. Is Monroeville,
starting at 5 o'clock.
is Monroeville in Allegheny County? Because I wonder about
No,
where you're
we're our
going.
own
That's God's country.
We're our own
That's
city.
God's country.
Yeah, we're all.
No,
our
but
own
there's
city.
something called a county. You're a city and a community. They didn't teach them this at Gateway. If you're thinking about going there, don't go. If you're from Bethel Park, stay in Bethel Park. Don't even listen to them.
Here's a great.
Explain that to me.
Here's a great question.
Okay.
I have. You guys may be able to feed in on it. How old were you when you met your first superstar?
When I went to City League championship games, some of those players, I can't even remember their names, from Jeep Kelly to.
I don't know, maybe 9 or 10 years old.
Yeah,
at a
I was
Little League
probably about-
banquet.
No, Blake. Who was it?
Might have been Mazeroski, somebody like that.
Hold it, that just dawned on me. I just thought about it. 12 years old, Pie Trainer.
You met Pie Trainer?
I shook his hand. He gave me
Pie
his
Trainer.
photo. I got to pull it out if I could find it. When I moved around, I don't know, but Pie Trainer, I met him.
Well, I got one. I was.
Because who can, American.
Who can American? I was 7 years old. Nobody believes this.
What year?
Huh?
What year?
Yeah.
That's why we don't believe it.
Got my baseball autographed.
Oh,
Rode my bicycle to his house. I remember his steps was like this, man. It seemed like I was climbing those steps forever, man. Knocked on the door. His wife comes to the door. I asked for the husband. She goes get him, and he was big as one of them statues in
Yeah.
PNC Park. Willie Stargell. Went to Willie Stargell's house at 7 years old. He signed my baseball, man.
he
Hard to
couldn't have lived
believe.
in Monroeville.
No, he didn't.
I
Hard
know.
hard to believe at that time. But,
Did you
know,
shake his hand?
Yeah, but
I shook his hand after Dan at the Hilton Hotel. He shook my arm.
He big boy.
Yeah, he was a big guy.
And we got to get into this, Chip, when you get time today to talk about 10th inning lining up at second base and the DH in the National League. But here's what's on my mind. I think it's a good thing after going back and forth. I didn't like Jameis Winston going to the New Orleans Saints. I think that was a career-killing move for him. But the more I thought about it, didn't like it at first, but I like New England Patriots signing Cam Newton. I think if he's healthy, he got an opportunity. He worked with North Turner before, and Carolina had a good season with North Turner. So it could all work out.
And did North Turner in New England? What happened to Josh McDaniel?
Maybe you're right. But
No, I think I'm for sure.
Yeah,
'cause
I
he's
wondered
the-
why he even
he's
said
the
that.
head coach in waiting
yeah,
as soon
But
as
I thought
Belichick retires.
I don't know if North
Is he
Turner
a quarterback's
I
coach?
don't know if he's a quarterback's coach
I don't
or,
even know
or
if he
a
has a
consultant.
job right now.
He might be a consultant
Uh-huh.
because they did consult him when they knew that the NFL was going to end up slapping their wrist for what they did in Cincinnati a year ago.
You want to talk about that?
Yeah, a minute later, they signed Cam Newton to get it off the front pages. But hey, I like that move, Cam Newton in New England. The more I think about it, the more I like it, and that's what's on my mind.
Thank you, Smoking Jim Frazier. Chip Hayner, what's on your mind?
What's on my mind? It's funny you should touch on Bill Belichick being sanctioned for the third time in his career for cheating. Cheating. He should have been thrown out of the league in 2008. Roger Goodell didn't have the spine to do it. Deflategate was a joke from start to finish, but they still got sanctioned. Now, the third time, you can't tell me that Bill Belichick, the control freak that he is, didn't know what that film crew was up to. And why would a team that was a Super Bowl contender be worried about filming the sideline of a team that was 0-13? Help me figure this one out, okay? And that gets me to my point. I'm getting a little bit rankled about this. Like that word, Jim?
Look it up.
You know, it has become so commonplace in professional sports now that cheating is being accepted, and it is not something that I stomach very well. Now, let me just give you some for instances. 3 times the Patriots in the last 12 years have been sanctioned for cheating. They've lost draft picks. They've lost millions of dollars. Yet Bill Belichick is still scheming, trying to cheat and get an edge right now. You have the Houston Astros, who cheated to win the 2017 World Series. Did they lose their title?
No.
Was the title vacated as it should have been? No, we're not going to do that. So cheating is being accepted in the world of professional sports now. I have a big problem with it. People think that Barry Bonds deserves to be in the Hall of Fame. He cheated the game. He does not belong there. Roger Clemens cheated the game. He doesn't belong. He doesn't deserve immortality. Hey, we got to get to a point where we have to teach our youth that cheating is not acceptable and is one of the virtues of professional sports that we need to do without. You know, the whole thing about professional sports teaching camaraderie and teamwork and you know and trying. And you know what? Not everybody wins every time. You know, participation trophies are a joke. You know, sometimes you win, sometimes you lose. What made me work to try to be better was because I wanted to be the team in first place. I wasn't happy being the team in second place. So what do? Do you cry about it? No. Do you whine about it? No. Do you cheat to try to beat them? The answer to that question is no. So what I see happening in professional sports now, I find it disturbing and distasteful. And that's what's on my mind.
I got to interrupt you on this because 9 years we've been doing the show. The gentleman next to you, my best friend, has told me from day one, if you ain't cheating, you ain't trying. And I told him my dad was a referee. I never cheated in sports ever. And I don't believe in it. I'm with you, Chip.
I was taught that that was unacceptable. And I can tell you what, if I would have cheated to win at something, I don't know if my father would have let me back in the house.
Sure.
Well, can I ask you one question, Chip?
That's why I brought it up, so you would.
If you're Mark McGuire and you save a sport, is that okay? Because he saved baseball.
Did he cheat?
He saved baseball.
Did he cheat?
I'm just asking. He saved baseball.
I'm asking you a question, yes or no. Did he cheat?
No.
Yes.
No.
So is it acceptable? The answer is no. It's pretty black and white.
Life is about the memories. That's all life is about
No,
memories.
life is about right and wrong. Life is about right and wrong, Jim.
There's the guy that got the.
And you know what? You can tell these two guys miss me. And on another before we cut to Alan. You know, I do want to wish Alan, my dear friend, happy birthday.
Ah, thank you.
And,
Thank you.
you know, I think instead of calling him the talking machine this week, I think I'm just going to nickname him Shaggy.
Look at this hair. Where's the close-up? You'll see the hair. My girl, my update from Azazu. Poor Marianne had a lot of trouble. Her mother was in the hospital for a while. She was sick, and Marianne had a shoulder injury from cheating at sports. She had to get surgery. And then, as luck would have it, when you're cheating, it didn't heal up right. So she was supposed to get my hair cut today because the Zazu's open. They're not in Monroeville. They're Fifth Avenue, downtown Pittsburgh, right in the middle of downtown.
Downtown.
And, yeah, downtown is in Allegheny County because Pittsburgh's in Allegheny County. And,
I heard that.
and everything around there, including Monroeville, is in, he'll figure it out. So she couldn't do it. And this is what I got left, and it's 4.5 months since I had a haircut.
Wow.
So I'm glad I got hair. To all my fans, I appreciate that. Thanks for the birthday wishes, Chip and Smoking Jim. I appreciate that. We'll just roll in the what's on my mind. And what's on my mind is sports in general wants to start up. And with Corona spiking up, in spite of all the reopening, whatever red states and blue states you're for, we're a non-political show. I respect everybody's opinion, but I have to stay alive. I'm doing great for my kidney. My immune system's getting destroyed, and I'm over 60. Believe it or not, I'm not going to lie like Smoking Jim and not tell you what year you're born. It was 1956. I just turned 64. So you're entitled to all your opinions. I just don't want people to be mean. How about we all get along? If somebody has health issues or could be suspected of something or asymptomatic, wear a mask. I'm about wearing a mask, whether they work or not, I don't know. I've heard good and bad about it, but I want to stay alive, so that's part of my thing. So I don't know how we're going to do sports when I think over 40 baseball players had COVID, and they're going to start back because they've healed up. But like Smoking Jim's a little naive about football, because believe it or not, football players get COVID. Now, what happens when there's an outbreak? Because, again, I got to pick on Smoking Jim because he doesn't know where Florida is, Texas, or California, or even Arizona. They've increased by over 100% with the amount of people sick. So they're going to play, basketball in Florida?
Orlando.
That's crazy.
Just common sense, and I know a lot of people nowadays don't have it, and I'll tell you what it is. We all know good and bad. How about we do something good? And if you're exposed to sick people, and you got people that work and live there, what's the odds of them getting players sick? I say very good. So my question to everybody is, what's going to happen with the season when one or two teams have to shut down because of COVID? How do you change the schedules from whatever the playoff or regular season is? And we'll talk about this later on, but that's what's on my mind because I'm a sports guy. I'm itching for sports. I mean, I want to see it come back. And I don't care if they're in countries where they don't care about their soccer players and whatever they're doing, but they've been doing it. Soccer, I'd rather paint my bathroom again and watch that paint dry. But I want to see American sports playing, and I'm sincere about it. I'm all for it, but I don't see it really happening for any length of time. I don't know how you do a full season at 60 games of baseball, how you do the NBA playoffs, how you do the NHL playoffs. And then how do you play an NFL season?
They can't even determine where the hub cities are for the NHL at this point because
Pittsburgh's out.
Because of the spike. They're saying now that Las Vegas may not be one of the cities because of the spike in cases in California on one side, Arizona on the other side.
Right. That's all I have. We're going to come back with some legitimate, non-lying fiction and fact from Smokin' Jim's Almanac.
We're in the Stanley Cup final for the second year in a row, and here's Yager with the puck. Yager, nice move around Brett Sutter to the backhand. Let's it go, he scores!
Earlier in that same week, I had a friend who was who had received some anti-Semitic remarks, and in doing that, I had an opportunity to say something to the person that made those remarks, and I didn't do it. I can think back to that morning, and I was getting ready, and I was thinking, am I going to say anything? What should I say? What's the right message to say? And I didn't. And then this happens 2 days later. And I wasn't consciously thinking about that situation whenever I was making the symbol, but I can't help but think that it had some sort of, background
That you
information.
wanted to be proactive.
Background in the back of my head. It was swirling around there. So I think understanding and being able to recognize hate and then doing something about it. I used to think that it was just enough to, not be racist, not be sexist. Well, I'm not racist, so that doesn't apply to me. Well, you have to stop it. The only way we're going to combat hate is with love. So we need to make sure that our messages, as we interact with people throughout the South Hills and throughout our community and throughout our world, that we're interacting with messages of love and hope.
Mark Ditbar throws. Here's a swing and a high fly ball going deep left. That's they do it. Back to the ball goes Belli. It is over the back home run. The Pirates win.
Thanks, Al Levine, the Talking Machine, Chip Hayner, Rookie of the Year, Steve Fisher, my man Anthony on the ones and twos. But I tell you what, I've been saying this from day one, and I'm glad that everybody in the building, including Al Levine, the Talking Machine, and Chip, agrees with me.
We know this is a lie.
We should cut off all the non-essential sports, hockey, basketball, baseball,
Football.
and just concentrate on the essential sport, football, get it up and going. If not, it's going to be a disaster. And I've been
Smoking
saying
Jim,
this
before
from
you
day
go
one.
any further, you always say you're an honest man. No, I never agreed with you. That's the first point. Now, it's like when I've dealt with lawyers, no offense to lawyers, that I will say that you're not speaking the truth. And they go, no. I go, well, you're not giving me the correct facts. So, Smoking Jim, you're not giving me the correct facts. And I do not support what you said. 100%, I
Well,
do not.
If you're not 100%, you will be sooner or later.
I'm 110%.
And like Chipper said, if they having all these problems trying to get hockey and baseball and basketball going, just shut it down and just focus in on football.
You missed
Get
one
more
thing.
time.
He said football also.
No,
Yeah,
he
but
meant-
but here's the thing. Football is much more of an intimate sport that involves a lot of personal contact with other human beings.
On
And
every
if
play.
you can't get sports up that don't require as much physical contact as football does, How do you think they're going to make football work? They're already pushing back the preseason. They're going to shorten it to 2 games. They're pushing back training camp from the 28th of July
That's all good.
on. And you know what? Yeah,
You're delirious.
That's all
you
good.
know,
How's that good?
We're missing Troy
As
Polamalu's Hall of Fame speech.
as much as I want
Wow.
sports back, and believe me, I would love nothing more than to sit in front of my TV set and watch my beloved Pirates play meaningful baseball games. I'm not absolutely sure it's going to happen.
Well,
Thanks for not putting us at ease about football. Because you sound like somebody in charge that you don't give any information out on how it's going to happen. How do you keep them healthy?
Well, he doesn't have a press secretary to interpret everything he says.
and
All
you
right.
guys are talking about what if you got to shut down a team. Well, back in World War II, we did the Steagles. So if somebody happens, you can merge a team.
Yeah.
This was
Whatever it takes to
before
get
the
there.
season.
We can say
Yeah,
everything.
but we
They
didn't
did
have
it
a global
before the
pandemic.
season.
We didn't have a global pandemic at that
No,
point.
we had a World War
Yeah, well, you know,
So
what,
they
if you
did it
didn't
in
want to die,
advance.
you didn't go where the shooting was.
Yeah,
Good point.
yeah.
Well, here it is. Hey, the Pittsburgh Steelers didn't make the playoffs for 40 years. And then not only am I at the first playoff game, I'm at the second playoff game. Back. 1972. Don't forget, that was the year the Miami Dolphins was 17-0. Today, they're traveling. Pittsburgh got to travel to Miami. Back then, the Dolphins came here, 17-0. Larry Zonka, Jim Kick,
Who just
Mercury
passed
Morse.
away.
Yeah, Jimmy
Jim
Kick
Kick
just passed away. Dementia or something, wasn't it?
I don't know. I know that he just
Yeah, I
recently
forgot
passed.
about that.
One of my
Sundance.
heroes.
Yeah, Butch Cassidy and
And
the
the
Sundance
Sundance Kid, yeah.
Well, my hero was Don Shula. He used to beat the heck out of Chuck Norris.
I didn't even know who he was.
Bob Greasy, the Pittsburgh Steelers and the Kansas City Chiefs in '72 was the only 2 teams in the NFL that had more black players than white players. Miami Dolphins had 3 black players, but I was a huge Miami Dolphin fan. Pittsburgh Steelers is beating them all day long. Don't forget that was the year Don Struck played most of the season because Greasy got hurt, but Greasy played that game. Pittsburgh Steelers is winning. It
Wasn't
looked like
Earl
we're going.
Morrall? Wasn't it Earl Morrall?
Earl Morrall, you're right. My fault. Did I say Don Struck?
Yeah.
he-
Yeah,
he
that was a
later.
different. Yeah, that was later on. Yeah, Earl Morrall, the great one. Another guy that the Steelers cut early in his career, like Lenny Dawson and
Johnny
Johnny
Unitas.
Unitas and the Duck.
Sure.
Some great ones.
Thanks for putting a duck in.
Don't make that mistake.
They will.
Walks like a duck. and
I'm at the
quacks like a
game.
duck.
He's gone.
We're celebrating this Super Bowl time.
How old
It's
were you?
Super Bowl time. It's
How old were you?
It's 1972. We're rolling. All of a sudden, Don Shula's punter goes back. He fakes punts. He goes down the sideline. L.C. Greenwood still running. I don't know why L.C. was on the punt return team. L.C. got his back to him. He runs in. Still, the Pittsburgh Steelers come back. We're doing it. It's the first time this ever happened in NFL history. You don't give up points. All of a sudden, they go back to punt again. Don Shula takes a safety. That never happened before. He took a safety. What an ingenious. Pittsburgh Steelers were still close to winning that game. What a great team. The greatest team of all time, the 1972 Dolphins used to beat the Steelers all the time. And if you guys can remember, who was number 32 before Franco Harris?
I don't remember.
It was a guy that went to high school near Monroeville. He played basketball, football, ran track at University of Minnesota. He was a vegetarian, 160-pound wide receiver, wore 32 for the Steelers. Hubie Bryant, the great Hubie Bryant.
Get out.
Is
I
in every
forgot
Hall
about
of
that.
Fame, little Hubie
Of course, I
Bryant.
was at 16. I wasn't so happy with the Steelers yet.
Wow.
Yeah, I was just becoming a fan.
But that's the fiction. In fact, that broke my heart. Don Shula breaks my heart again.
Wow. And what kills me is not that you're not an honest man, but again, you said you had season tickets since you were 2 years old.
4.
Oh, okay, I was checking. Now, how did you become a Miami fan when you go to the Steeler games?
Well,
I got to hear that story.
I've always been a fan of the college football, NFL. Don't forget when Mercury Morris was 12 yards short of the NCAA rushing record by O.J. Simpson when he was in the small little college coming out. Don't forget he's from Avonworth, PA. He's a local guy, so I love him.
Another Avonworth guy.
Yeah, well, I don't know what the school was back then. Poe James and all them is from the Valley.
There we
Yeah,
go.
all right, on time. Did you get that from Mercury? Did he send it? Was you a pen pal when he was in jail?
I saved that for a special
That
moment.
was great, man. That was great. But that's a fiction and fact from Smoking Jim's Almanac. I was there. The undefeated Miami Dolphins had to travel to the Steel City.
Do you have any witnesses?
Huh?
Do you have any witnesses?
I seen the safety.
I know. Did
That was
anybody?
in my end zone.
Did anybody
No,
see
no,
you?
No, not in my end zone.
Who saw you?
Nobody gives up points. Don Shula was the first one to do it.
Well, again, folks, he ignored the question, which means it's not a true story. Thank you, Smoking Jim. We'll now go to Chip.
Oh, thank you very much. And I'd like to get back to baseball because, that's the one thing I'm missing more than anything this summer. So, I've said this before, and I'll say it again. 1941 might have been the greatest year in professional baseball. And I shared this with Al Levine, the talking machine,
Yes.
during my hiatus.
A few days ago.
And, the 1941 baseball season is considered by many baseball historians to be one of the greatest ever. As we all know, that was the year of Joe DiMaggio's 56-game hitting streak. It was also the year Ted Williams batted .406. Average last time a player hit over 400. In addition, the Dodgers won their first pennant since 1920 and faced the Yankees in the Fall Classic. But there's another memorable streak that year that often gets overlooked. 79 years ago this month, June 1st, 1941, a largely forgotten Yankee player named Johnny Sturm. That's one for the record books, right, Jim? You have his card, don't you?
No.
Okay. Hit a home run, his first in the majors, and one of only 3 he hit in his one-year career.
Wow.
It was an 8th-inning 2-run blast into the right field seats at Cleveland's Municipal Stadium, breaking a 1-1 deadlock. Who would have thought it was the start of a record-setting consecutive 24-game home run streak that would stand for 53 years? Wow. From June 1st to June 29th, the Yankees homered in every game.
The day before my birthday.
The streak had New York fans buzzing until it was overtaken by DiMaggio's exciting and historic consecutive game hitting streak. It wasn't until 1994 that the record would be broken when the Tigers homered in 25 straight games. The current record is held by the 2019 Yankees, who broke the record last season by homering in 31 straight games. In an otherwise unremarkable career, Johnny Sturm hit .239 above the Mendoza line.
Yeah, no Mendoza.
With 3 home runs and 36 RBIs. He was the player who replaced Babe Dahlgren at first base
Another
after
Babe.
Dahlgren had replaced Lou Gehrig.
Really?
Okay? And who did Lou Gehrig replace? Wally Pipp.
That's right.
Sturm
You
hit
were calling him
286 in
Wally
the
Chip.
1941. Here are a few other noticeable events from the 1941 baseball world. Bob Feller signs with the Indians for a reported $30,000. May 15th, in a game against Chicago, DiMaggio began his 56-game hitting streak. Johnny Sturm hits a home run to start a consecutive home run streak. A hero to millions, Lou Gehrig passed away at the young age of 37 from ALS. Mel Ott's 2-run homer, the 400th of his career and 1500th RBI, gives the Giants a 3-2 win over the Reds on June 1st. July 6th, the unveiling of Lou Gehrig Monument at Yankee Stadium. July 16th, Joe DiMaggio's hitting streak ended. Lefty Grove on July 25th of the Boston Red Sox earns his 300th career win. September 17th, Denora's own 20-year-old Stan Musial makes his major league debut with the St. Louis Cardinals. September 28th, entering the last day of the season, Ted Williams of the Red Sox was hitting .399.5, which would have been good for a .400 average. Williams decided to play in both games of a doubleheader
And
to
Chip,
make
then-
it completely legitimate. He went 6 for 8 in the 2 games to leave his average at .406.
And when do you ever hear of double headers on the last game of the season?
Well, when
games?
do you ever hear of somebody when they've got it wrapped up, when the
Right, he
chances
had
are better
400.
that his average could have gone under 400, and he proved that he was deserving of that by going 6 for 8.
Yeah.
The Yankees defeated the Dodgers in Game 5 of the World Series to win their 5th title in 6 years. And on November 27th, in a controversial vote, Joe DiMaggio is named American League MVP over Ted Williams. A lot happened in 1941. You can see why many baseball historians consider it one of the greatest years in baseball history.
And I got another bit of trivia guy. Just finished the Lefty Gomez story. What a great Hall of Fame pitcher he was. He had at least 10 good years where he was the go-to pitcher. Guess who won that 5th game against the Giants? Lefty Gomez.
Really?
He won the 5th game. I just read it in his book.
Wow.
Yeah, and he was, how about his record in World Series games? He was 6-0. 6 wins, no losses, Smoking Jim.
That's amazing.
Yeah, what a good pitcher he was. Legendary. Yes.
Got a good
You got to go
question for Chip?
bathroom?
I got a question for Chip.
Go ahead.
Now you said Ted Williams. What was he that last game?
6 for 8, last 2 games. There was a doubleheader. He went
Doubleheader.
6 for 8.
So getting one hit a game ain't that hard. Court do that. Okay. I
Yeah,
agree with
and you know what, Jim? That's why nobody else has done it.
that. Nobody ran a 4-minute mile until it was done.
150 years.
Mm-hmm.
One person has done it.
Don't seem that hard for me. You get 4 times up a bat, you should be able to get a hit.
Smoking Jim, what was your batting average?
Like I said, Jim.
Chip, I want to thank you for that best year in baseball. I didn't realize how good it was. A few of those I never heard of, especially the home run streak, because I remember when they broke it, but I didn't realize it was 1941 when they had it. So that in itself is awesome. Thanks for all those great trivia points. And Smoking Jim, no thanks for what you added to that. On location. Anthony, you're doing a fantastic job. New intern at BPTV. Anthony's doing a great job. He's even keeping our Steve in line here. He's doing a great job too. On location, you know I'm limited, but I do have some bad news. We were doing shows at Olive Oil's Pizzeria, and I just drove by the other day because I was just cruising around. Me and my son will go out, just see how the neighborhoods are and the lack of people out, you know, and people not wearing masks and wearing masks, just wondering who and what they are. But we drove by Olive Oil's Pizzeria in Brookline. It's closed.
Oh no.
So they're out of business there. I'll have to talk to Frank about what's going on. His sister Nikki said to stop by up at, you know, the Bethel Park store. So I haven't been avoiding him, but I haven't been going in. So I'll have to stop by and see what's going on because, you know, we love the place. Had great food, great people would come in there and had some great shows. So that era's over. So we'll be looking for another location when we can go out and about. I don't think it'll be anywhere soon. I was actually hoping for end of July, August to be out there in the public and doing what we do best is interviewing people and talking sports. But looks like that'll be on hold. We're going to look into doing Facebook Lives. And we still got our opportunity with Master Zhang. I'm going to meet with him in the next week or so and see about some date in August because we're allowed to do social distancing and film on location. So we'll do something like that. So we're looking at that. And then the Jumbo, that'll be August 22nd. And we'll see what happens there. That's my limited on location because of the pandemic. So we're just trying to hang in there and present entertaining sports facts and information, and maybe even a little misinformation for all of you paying attention. I won't say who. But we will be back, and we're just going to talk open forum on sports.
Mark Ditbar throws. Here's a swing and a high fly ball going deep left, and they do it. Back to the wall goes Barry. It is over the Pirates.
From a very young age, I was exposed to sports in a great way. My uncle was on the first pro basketball team in Pittsburgh, the Pittsburgh Ironmen. And my dad, of course, that was my hero. He was a basketball referee for over 30 years. Just been a passion in my life. And as I got older, I found out about horses, and I ended up owning a stable. And I was asked to be on a sports show with Roger Houston called the Meadows Racing Network. And when we were done, I said, boy, that'd be something great. Maybe someday I could have a TV show. Back in 2011, I had a conversation with some friends about sports that piqued my interest in how could we start a sports talk show on TV. Well, I found out I could go to public access TV in Bethel Park, and I'd be able to produce my own sports talk TV show. The great thing about doing 2 sports talk shows on BPTV is I can share my passion about sports with thousands of people every week. If you are passionate about something that you would like to share with the community, I encourage you to come to BPTV and produce a show like I do. I'm Al Levine, volunteer producer of Pittsburgh Sportsline on BPTV.
BPTV. Come volunteer. If it wasn't fun, I wouldn't be here. BPTV. Come on in, make a show. It's still fun after all these years.
With the puck. Yager, nice move around Brett Sutter to the backhand. Lets it go, he scores!
Welcome back, everybody. Thanks for not changing that dial. We're glad we could talk some sports. I'm going to open up to my 2 sports expert friends on my birthday. So they've been kind enough to me already. Now we can get serious about sports. Chip already gave some of his things. We may go a little more in depth with it, because they want to do a 60-game baseball season, and it's dictated by the commissioner, because both sides disagree.
And, well, you know, they did finally come to an agreement, because the mandate by the commissioner, he could have mandated as few as 48 games. And, you know, the players' last offer was 70 games, so there was a little bit of give and take there. I think, actually, if the game of baseball is able to be played, it's going to be a sprint. It's not going to be a marathon. And I think it could be quite interesting and very exciting baseball. However, with the current situation in the United States, I think there's so much uncertainty right now, because, you know, with a game like baseball, travel is you have to travel. You can't play it in a bubble. And, you know, it's just, there's too many variables right now, and I just don't see how it's going to work. Major League Baseball announced today the complete cancellation on all levels of the minor league baseball season for this year. And I think that, you know, this may just be the beginning, and you know, and it's unfortunate, but you know, my heart of hearts, I want to see baseball played.
Right.
Now, Jim talked about some of the rule changes for this year, about the universal DH. You ask me how I feel about it, I hate it with a passion, okay? Why does there have to be a universal DH? How about having the pitcher's bat in both leagues, okay? I would prefer to see the way I was raised in the game of baseball that I was taught to love and respect. You earned your chance to bat by playing a position in the field, and if you couldn't play a position in the field, you have no business being on the team. It's just that simple.
Yeah.
That's just the way I feel. Now, as far as the extra inning rules, I've heard some variations on this, and I'm not sure that I actually like the fact that they're going to put a runner on second in the 10th inning. Now, here's what some interesting statistics I heard yesterday. Now, of all the games played Major League Baseball last year, 12% of them went more than 9 innings, okay?
Yeah.
And of the games that went more than 9 innings, only 2% of them went more than 12. So here's what my thought is. Play the game as it was always meant to be played for the 10th and the 11th, and then put the runner on second to start the 12th inning. But, with the expanded rosters, and which, of course, will lead to expanded pitching staffs, I don't see why it's such a big deal because there are so few games that go that way.
Sure.
I am absolutely not a fan of ties. I think the game should be played until there's a winner.
Yeah.
That's just the way.
I'm old school like that, Chip.
But, there's going to be some changes because 2020 is like no other year any of us have ever experienced.
Oh.
And I'll accept the universal DH. Doesn't mean I'm going to like it. And I don't want it to continue past this year. I'm afraid that that may end up being part of the next collective bargaining agreement. But speaking about the next collective bargaining agreement, after the 2021 season, they'll negotiate, and I have a feeling that we're in for another work stoppage.
The only honest man in the world. I'm not looking forward to that. But the way they showed they couldn't come together on a deal, and it took the commissioner to mandate it. And like I said, when you're negotiating in the media, you're not going to be successful.
It's a bad recipe. It's a bad recipe.
Yeah.
The
Because you can't have the give and take.
Negotiations need to be behind closed doors.
Sure.
I just think it's divisive to negotiate in the press because then you pit one side against the other, and and ultimately at the end of the day, the fans lose. And isn't that who they play the game for? Or at least they say.
Supposedly. Yes. Well, they do make all that money, so we'll see what happens. And then with the NHL, what's going on there? I've been waiting for hub cities.
And they've got issues as well for, escrow money because the players are on the short end of that stick.
Yeah.
Because once again, when you have millionaires who are negotiating contracts with billionaires, there's a reason why they're billionaires. You know what I mean?
Well,
they're pretty sharp cookies.
Like I explained, contracts are a compromise. So we won't get into the NFL contract because that's the worst players' union that I've ever seen, ever, except the first time.
Well, I heard DeMaurice Smith actually say something intelligent.
No.
And he said, look, we want to play a season, okay? We want to make this happen. And if you guys don't start practicing social distancing and stop gathering together and train, you're going to shut it down for everybody. So you know what? You guys need to follow the protocols because you got people like Tom Brady who comes from a 20-year culture of cheating, who's still breaking the rules, getting together with his teammates and practicing against what the league had recommended.
Too?
Yeah, I mean, so everybody's trying to get an edge, but they might edge their way right out of playing this season.
And that's why I'm fearful about Smoking Jim's theory on the essential of NFL. But if they're sick and they're not in a bubble, they're not going to play.
My issue with people testing positive, not so much them testing positive, who are they going to spread it to? Okay, and they're going to ultimately end up spreading it to people that are more at risk than they are, and it's not going to make the problem any better.
Sure. Look at the different shops that have slowed down and shut down because there's been COVID there.
Mm-hmm.
So it's going to happen. I mean, it's all across the country. And
it's getting worse. It's not getting better.
How about a little Pittsburgh sports line karma?
Yes.
Karma Worthy.
Yeah.
Guy we had on our show.
This is all sports talk. 2-0.
Didn't have an opportunity at all to get in the UFC. got his break in the UFC. Now, not only is he a champion, but he's 2-0 there, and he's a
And he was
nationally
former
known.
guest. Yeah.
Former guest, man. Mama word, it couldn't
Yeah,
happen.
congratulations.
to a better guy.
Best of luck to him.
No, that's great. And there's a sport that's a high contact sport that's doing something right to be able to perform their events.
Well, you know, it's a high contact sport, but it's a high contact sport between two individuals.
That's my point.
You know, and so you know, if you can, you know, if you can
Two healthy people.
constantly test to make sure that people are healthy, you know, it's much easier to control.
That's why I'm glad Smoking Jim brought it up, because they're having success with that.
And wrestling as well. But you know what? You know, I don't feel bad for baseball. Baseball can't seem
Well,
to
we
get
know
out,
that.
out
We
of
know
its
that.
way. I feel bad for hockey because hockey is the one sport where they don't have a great TV contract. You need paid attendance to really be able to supplement your hockey
But no
players.
fans are going to be there.
So shut down those non-essential sports. If I was the commissioner of basketball,
Yeah.
the NBA, which I consider a non-essential sport,
Yeah.
and we got these NBA players mouthing off that they're not going to come back and play, or they got a sick child at home, or they got a wife that's having a baby. If I'm the commissioner and I decide that we're going to have an NBA season, anybody that doesn't play, suspended for 1 year without pay. That way, you got a whole year to be able to tend to your runny nosed kid or to your wife.
Well, they
that's
missed the
pregnant.
birth then.
Yeah, they will. They have a whole year.
And
They
the
miss
don't
that birth.
pay
And
to
the
do it. They can
American-
go and play with China.
The American Civil Liberties Union would have a field day with you. They would be involved in so much litigation.
Why? What is that?
Uh-huh.
What is that?
Their rights.
They,
What is
they,
that?
you
'Cause
know,
what? Because you're under contract to play and you're saying you're not
oh
going
yeah.
to play?
Well, wait a minute. Now you're going to say that they're under contract to play, but when some meathead wants to sit out because, well, I signed this contract and now Joe Blow's making $5 more than me, so now I'm not going to pay because I want to be the highest paid guy, and he's not going to play even though he's got a contract. That's okay. But now,
Yeah, that's okay.
yeah, see,
Yeah,
that's a double
okay.
standard,
No,
Jim.
that's okay because that's a negotiation. You don't have to play. If you want to sit out,
That's
I'll
a,
find
that's a
somebody else.
negotiation too,
No,
because
when
they
you're-
have
when you're saying I'm not going to play, then you can sit out for a year. I'm just saying it was me, but like I said, I've
Well,
been
you're
saying
like
all
an
along-
emperor.
Yeah,
He's an emperor.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I mean,
They're meat.
They didn't lose enough money this year so far. You want want them to lose 10 times that in litigation.
They're going to lose. Listen, I already said, in my opinion, non-essential sports, which all of them are non-essential except for football. You got the best minds in the world in this country. You got the best doctors. You got the best medicine. Concentrate on having a great NFL and college football season.
If we have the greatest of all these things, why are we in such a mess?
Pardon me? We can't find, we don't have the cure for the flu. We
Okay.
don't have,
No,
you
we have
found the
vac-
cure for the
Jim-
flu?
No,
All
they
the
have-
books you read.
Jim,
Have you read
Hold
a
it.
book on
Time
the flu?
out.
Jim,
Smoking Jim,
Jim,
time out.
that
There's
was
a
a rhetorical
vaccine for the
question.
flu.
Huh?
Did you know that?
What kind of vaccine?
My man, where have you been? Folks, we may have to go to a commercial because
That
my
was
man's
rhetorical
acting like he knows something. We've had a vaccine for flu, and it's a virus. I don't know if people know that. Sorry, folks, earth-breaking news. We've had a vaccine.
And yes, I did read a book on the pandemic of 1918.
And they still went to games with masks.
I posted that picture, and he's
50 million
living by it.
50 million people died.
That's what I told him.
Yeah. Even the
Smoking
Germans
Jim.
wore gas masks.
Poor Smoking Jim. Hey, Smoking Jim, since we're just talking sports anywhere, how about him at Skeet Service Station? This big burly guy built like a house walks in.
White guy?
Yeah. And you'll love
Does
this.
it matter?
You'll love this. It's wrestling. So we're there, and Skeets goes, Al, you know who that guy coming in is? I go, no. He goes, Jimmy Vegas. He's a wrestler in the Pittsburgh area. His nickname is Jimmy Vegas, but he's really Jeff Murray. So he comes in, and he introduces me to him, goes, I'm, Al Levine, the talking machine, and I go, oh, nice to meet you. I said, I've heard your name because I had friends in wrestling. He goes, I don't know if many people heard my name. And he's been doing it for 20 years.
Wow.
So I go, where'd you grow up? He goes, I grew up in Greentree. I go, so did I. So he goes, my last name's really Murray, and they lived on West Manila Avenue, which is in Greentree. And I go, I know where it's at. It's up near the, school and stuff where it was on Manila. And he grew up there. And then he starts mentioning a friend.
Gorilla in Manila.
Well, yeah, it was Manila Avenue Grade School. So then he talks about a guy who I know called Chris Gannis, and he had a sports store where he sold shoes that you would have liked, knockoff shoes for $10. And some of them were legitimate Nike and shoes he sold those for $20.
Size 15.
Yeah, he had all kind of sizes. So that brought back memories because I'd take my buddies up to work. We'd have a break. So I'd go, you want to go up to my buddy Chris Gannis's place? They go, what's he have? I go, he got all the sweatpants, the outfits, all the things up there, plus shoes. They were buying dozens of shoes.
Wow.
I'd take 20 people up there, and they had to spend hundreds of dollars.
Wow.
And this kid, he was 14 years old. He goes, I knew Chris, and I said, that was my best friend from kindergarten.
Wow.
And we remained best friends till he died a few years ago.
Small
So you talk about Skeets goes, what kind of small world is this?
Wow.
Who else are you going to know when they come in here? So we had a great time, and I said, you're a co-host, because I gave him my card, of course. I said, we do a show, and I'm doing one tonight. And he goes, I'll have to check it out then. So we might have a new fan.
All right.
Jimmy Vegas. And he's been injured, and he's going to come back. So I was telling him how we had
Does he know
guys
Trapper
from the...
Tom?
Who's that?
Does he know Trapper Tom?
No,
The
he didn't know.
KSWA?
He didn't know the KSWA guys because he must wrestle in another.
Another independent.
Yes, yeah, that's out there. There's a bunch of them in
Yeah,
here.
I know.
So
They wrestled down at the Ross Draver Ice Arena.
okay, there you go. Yeah, so that's a little beyond the fiction and fact.
Wow.
True story today,
That's
buddy.
awesome.
So you never know who comes in Skeet's service station. But no, thanks for bringing Calma Worthy, because Jim O'Jay put a nice quote up there.
That was
Because
nice.
he was at the show, because I go, excuse me, you do what? And he goes, I paint the ring red with their blood.
Yeah,
He's an artist.
I like that.
So to make a statement like that's pretty strong. So how we doing on time? Under one? Any last remarks, Smoking Jim? What other outrageous statement could you make?
Nothing.
Okay, folks. Chip, anything?
Well, spring training 02 starts tomorrow.
Yes, that's why I wanted you to give the final thing. And thanks to Smoking Jim Frazier. Happy birthday, Al Levine. And Smoking Jim, I'm honestly 64 years old. I don't lie about it. In 1972, I was 16. Okay? So we got that covered. Thanks for watching our show. I hope we could entertain you a little bit. I know it gets a little silly, but that's part of what we've been doing for 9 years. I'm proud of it. And I want you all to stay safe and healthy and stay Joey strong.